Thank you for rejoining Ravenloft. This is Cover to Cover, Part 3, Howls in the Night, Bog Take Your Bones. After the heroes have fought or fled the first group of hounds, they must survive the dangers of the bog itself, not the least of which is continued pursuit by the hounds. Here they will learn more about the area, the nearby manor, and Burton Westcott by talking with Douglas Michaels, Westcoat's gardener. The hero's interaction with Michaels will determine the reception they receive when they finally arrive at Westcoat Manor. Hounded! The sounds of the other deputies have faded to nothing during the battle. Your surroundings are damp and marshy. The sound of water dripping off moss-draped skeletons of trees fills the lonely moor. All around rise the drone of buzzing insects and the harsh cawing of carrion birds. The sound seems somehow lost and forlorn through the dense fog. Then, out of the lonely gray comes the baying of the dread hounds as the pack once more takes up the hunt, and you must turn and flee deeper into the depths of the great bog. Your haphazard flight leads into thicker growths, green yet rancid, somehow drawing strength from the stagnant waters through which you now slog. Abruptly, your foot sinks into a morass. Only quick reflexes save you from being swallowed by the bog, as you come to realize this entire swamp hides danger everywhere, and a misstep could spell your doom. The heroes will be pursued by the bog hounds while they remain on the moors. The heroes will not have time to stop and investigate, for as soon as they dispatch their attackers, 4 more hounds take up the hunt. The heroes have 10 minutes rounds at most between attacks. Inexorably, the heroes will be driven towards the lost Douglas Michaels, Burton Westcoat's gardener. But before they encounter him, they must learn how to navigate the bog. The heroes must first deal with the slowed movement. Unless they have some magic that allows them unrestricted action in this plant-choked place, their movement rate is reduced to 1/3 of normal. Though there are game trails and small paths crisscrossing the entire bog, the trails are so overgrown that they hamper movement significantly. If the heroes are on one or more of the established trails used by the hounds or the servants of Westcoat Manor, then their movement rate raises to 2/3 normal. The greatest danger of the bog is quicksand. There's a 15% chance each round that the heroes encounter a patch of quicksand. The patch will be formed from 10 to 60 feet wide and may actually wait for a few rounds before the heroes realize their predicament. Each hero must make a successful saving throw versus spell or step into the quicksand. If anyone falls into the quicksand, they must each make a swimming proficiency check. If they succeed, the victim can stay afloat indefinitely, though any movement through the morass is extremely difficult. 1 foot every 3 rounds. Those who fail have panicked and are treated as if they do not have the swimming proficiency at all. Characters without the swimming proficiency can stay afloat for 1/4 of their constitution score in turns. Each turn spent in the quicksand exhausts the heroes and gives them a -1 penalty to attacks unless the heroes have rested at least 1 turn for each turn spent in the quicksand. Once a victim sinks below the surface, he can only survive briefly. Given a good gulp of air, heroes can hold their breath a number of rounds equal to 1/6 their constitution score. After this time, if they continue to try to hold their breaths, they must make a successful constitution check each round, with a cumulative -2 penalty after the first round. Once the check is failed, the character drowns. Rescuing someone trapped in quicksand merely requires the rescuer to reach out with a branch, rope, or other object to find something to anchor themselves to on this marshy ground and to reel the victim in as he hangs on. A rescuer may jump onto the quicksand to save a drowning person, but must have the swimming proficiency or else he will be in just as much jeopardy. The safest way to travel in the bog is to rope together oneself with one's companion. Though this causes a -1 hit penalty to each hero as well as limiting movement, it is far preferable to the alternative. No matter their course or preparations, the party will encounter at least one group of bog hounds. These beasts will attack until they are outnumbered by 4 to 1 or greater, at which point the survivors will flee into the mists. Bog Hounds 4. Intelligence Semi, Alignment Neutral Evil, Armor Class 5, Movement 15, Hit Die 2+2, Hit Points 13, 13, 10, and 9, Thaco 19, Number of Attacks 3, Damage 1d4, 1d4, 1d6, Size Medium, ML 15, XP 65 each. The party first hears the Lost Gardener thrashing through the underbrush after they dispatch the first group of bog hounds. From around the bend in the game trail comes a terrified, horrified screaming and chorused by the baying of hounds who have cornered their prey. A stooped old man, bloodied and muddied, hobbles out of the undergrowth. The horrible eyeless hounds close on his heels. His pitiful cries for help are weak and hoarse. The dogs, undaunted by this new foe, throw themselves into battle, foaming and snarling. These 4 hounds have the same statistics as the ones described above. 1. Meeting Michaels. Once the heroes have dispatched the beasts, the grateful man speaks.
Thanks to ye for your timely assistance. Without it, I'd surely be dead. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Allow me to introduce myself to you. I am Douglas Michaels, the gardener to Sir Barton Westcote, the owner of this property and the nearby manor. I came out here in the bog to gather some herbs for you to cook when I was set upon by these nasty dogs. I've got to say, I've never expected to see anyone wandering through the bog of their own accord. Even during the day when the hounds don't come out, this place is usually shunned by the locals. Of course, I can see you're not locals, so that might explain it. Still, didn't anyone tell you that this place is supposed to be cursed? You know, not I think on it, this is the first time I'd ever seen those hounds during the daytime. That's a powerful puzzle. It's supposed to be safe to go out in the light.
An involuntary shivering shakes his frail frame.
If you could be seeing me back to the manor, we could go look after those wounds and maybe arrange for some dinner. What say ye?
The sun pierces the fog after the heroes rescue the gardener. Michaels leads the way back to the manor, chatting all the way. If the heroes cannot think of anything to talk about, Michaels will talk about anything that comes to mind. These topics will include weather, his job, and the dilapidated state of the manor house. If asked about Westcote and the curse, Michaels explains that he is devoted to Westcote, or more properly, he is devoted to his job. He might speak glowingly of the master, or he might whisper the master's unpredictable temper, depending on the history chosen. If Westcote is evil, Michaels tells the heroes that, though he hates speaking ill of another. Westcote is a man prone to violent rages and is sometimes an unreasonable master, though he always presents a civilized face to his guests. Michaels also begs the heroes not to tell anyone what he has said. He loves his job, if not his master, and would hate to have to look for another at this time in his life. Michaels doesn't know much about the curse. However, he does know that the bog seems to have been creeping steadily closer to the manor in the 50 years that he has been working there. Also, strangely enough, the master never seems to get any older. as though he were always being kept young by some supernatural agency. He knows that the hounds are usually nocturnal creatures, and he stays inside at night. For this reason, he has never seen the apparition described in Part 3, The Hounds Are Forever Yours, though he has heard of it from the other servants. After 15 to 20 minutes of walking, Westcote Manor's silhouette can be seen dimly in the fog. Its garbled roof rising above the tree line. Even from this distance, it seems more a derelict than an inhabited manor. As the heroes draw closer, they can see that the manor's windows are boarded up, the doors thick and stout. The building is badly in need of a paint, a strange contrast to the well-kept grounds. The bog is held at bay by the thick stone walls that ring through the estate, though in places it looks as though the wall has crumbled under the steady onslaught of the marshy ground. If the heroes ask why the manor house is boarded up, Michaels replies,
It's because of them bog hounds and their leader, the great moorhound. They've thrown themselves at the windows and forced their way through the doors more than once. About 40 years ago, after I'd been here for a while, Master Westcote simply decided not to go through the trouble of replacing the windows. Every night those dogs come at us and ruin whatever work I've done during the day. We tried putting the stuff back together. I hope you'll forgive the mess. I was out here in the bog.